In Luke 17, Jesus says that if you caused one of these little ones of mine to stumble, it would be better for you to have a millstone hung around your neck and be thrown into the deepest sea. So there are also concerns that Jesus has for children. And in Genesis, he tells us that he created them male and female.
It might have been a little bit hard to tell since it was cloaked in old-timey biblical talk, but that was Ohio Representative Beth Lear saying that if you, in your LGBTQ agenda ways, threaten the children, you should be drowned. She is a state representative making a violent threat that probably will not result in any consequences because she was quoting Bible. I mean, the idea is that if we were to take it seriously and to act on it, you'd be killed. Many of you, any of you who support the LGBTQ community could well be drowned. But she will probably get away with it because she used biblical talk. Now, if I were to quote a Harry Potter book or something as an excuse for why someone who disagrees with me should be murdered, I think we would all say that that's unacceptable. But for some reason, when it's the Bible, it doesn't seem as bad. Anyway, we wanted to get into this topic because the culture war that has driven so much of American politics and American political discourse over the past few years is not going anywhere, despite the fact that there is a lot of indications from recent elections that focusing on those topics is not the major electoral winner that Republicans thought that it would be. At the very least, in general elections, it still seems very useful to them in their primary elections, but we see that mismatch. And anyway, we have nationwide battles going on over topics like gender affirming care. That's actually what the conversation was going on when Beth Lear made her point. There was a veto from Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, which is actually pretty surprising on gender affirming care. And so we're gonna get into other examples of this going on around the country. But Brett, what do you make of that?
So, lady, I hate to throw the book at you, so to speak, but God was the first gender reassignment surgeon, and Eve was the first gender reassignment surgery. Because God created Adam, took his ribs, so basically took parts of Adam, mixed them up, got rid of the PP, and made Eve. So that, I hate to break it to you, is a pretty gender bendy situation. And also protect, we want to protect kids, you want to get rid of books that have weird kid porn in them? Didn't Lot's kids try to bang him or something like that? I don't know. These people that think that they can go into the Bible and they're saying that Jesus wrote the Bible. It's I guess if the Trinity is all one but separate people when it's convenient, then yeah, but God hadn't made his own baby yet. He was still a single guy at that point. And so, it's so hilarious that in this book, you can go and find something that backs up your argument, but it just doesn't hold. Eve is trans.
That's your takeaway for today's episode. Hashtag Eve is trans. Oh yeah. Also, you could throw out, a humanity in its purest form went about without clothing. So what are you talking about with your obscenity laws? We're just trying to bring back the Garden of Eden.
And so the Lord God sent a deep sleep upon Adam. So he put take a nap. He was also an anesthesiologist. And when he was fast asleep, he just took one of his ribs and completed it with flesh, and he made Eve. So I'm just saying. That is an early Grey's Anatomy for how to do gender reassignment surgery.
Okay, I'm a little bit worried about what's going to come from this, but I think that there is something to what you're saying. I don't know if it's going to convince Beth Lear, but anyway, yeah, just utter madness. The fact that you really like this book is not a get out of jail free card, or should not be, for making violent threats. You have to come up with an argument. You have to convince people. You cannot simply say, I found that book convincing, so I think it's law now. That's not how this government, at the very least, is supposed to function.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.